Yo, what is going on? How is everybody doing today? Welcome to another episode of the Risen Fallen podcast. I am your host, Mark Henriksen, and what you can expect if you're brand new to this show is an open and authentic conversation about, things like mental health, self-development, how to get your life moving in the right direction. If you're not feeling good about where you're at right now, at least having the confidence knowing that you're moving forward, at least one step closer, 1% closer, better every single day. And if you're wondering, this is my morning voice. This is it is Sunday morning right now as I record this. And, basically what I wanted to record today was kind of what happened this morning for me. And, the reason that is the reason I wanted to record this, because, this morning I woke up and, I woke up at around 4:45. I set two alarms for myself. There was one on my phone and one on my actual alarm clock. And so my alarm clock, I always set 5 minutes fast because, what do you call that when it's 5 minutes ahead? And I do that just to trick myself sometimes because I used to have the natural tendency of being late all the time. Anyway, so I have two alarm clocks, right? And I set them for 4:45, but one of them's 5 minutes fast. So I hit the first one off, to be honest with you. It's very something that I don't really like doing or admit that I like doing or whatever it is. But, the second alarm goes off, I get up right away. And I just kind of feel heavy. I just kind of feel like it's harder to move my body. It's harder to do things this morning. It's just one of those days where I'm just kind of feeling not apathetic, just slow. Like I'm kind of moving through jello as opposed to just like regular air. And I know a lot of people probably kind of feel like that all the time. It is such a beautiful kind of facade where we all kind of like think, when you get a perfect routine, when you got a good morning routine or a good, thing going in life, you do it. Come here. Come here. It's easy to get the conception that for everyone else, there's this reality where, oh, we got a cat in here now. Let's see if I can get her to chill out. Chill out. Just chill. No, just chill. No, just chill. All right. Well, I got a cat in heat on my lap right now, so we're going to see how this goes. But, in today's day and age, it's easy to look at, social media, look at, everything else going on in the world, have all these like kind of success gurus, have all these people that are just always crushing it and killing it. It's easy to get into the misconception that people are like, there's people out there that wake up every single day that feel motivated, that feel inspired, that feel like doing what they need to do on a daily basis. It's very it's so easy because most people treat, social media and, what they share with the world, on social media and just in conversations with their friends at the gym, at work, at, the Pilates class, at the whatever, you know, because people are so inclined to always consistently share their highlight reels and how they feel. And, oh, I've been feeling so good. I started this smoothie routine. I started this, yoga routine. I started this, whatever. If you're a president of the United States, oh, I started this war this weekend, whatever it is that you started doing that makes you feel good, there's, people are always wanting to share why that what they do is so successful. Oh, I always feel, oh yeah, this like it killed all the parasites in my body, or this kind of, now I feel like I have unlimited energy. They always want to brag about, what, like how what they're doing is so smart and so good and so just and so, much better than you. Anyway, so the more that the more that you watch social media or reality TV or anything like that, it's so easy to get caught up in this misconception that there's people that are just crushing it all the time, you know, and it kind of it leaves us to believe that kind of false reality, because in reality, most of us, if you're a human being, and then there's going to be mornings where you just wake up and you just kind of feel more sluggish. The things in life that you're dealing with weigh you down physically, emotionally, spiritually, and it feels like you're kind of walking through quicksand or jello or whatever it is. Like, it's just like there's so much more resistance to your life, to your feel, like the way that you feel. And this is, I think, part of, actually no, it is like it is the thing behind the idea of like kind of wrestling with reality, in the sense that a lot of the time this resistance we feel, it almost feels like it's being imposed upon us. Like there's something, an outside force, whether it's another person, the world, the universe. Some people blame God. Some people blame, their parents. Some people blame their coworkers. And in reality, that resistance that we're feeling is because we kind of, put something off, dealing with an issue or covering it up or whatever it is. And that becomes like a weight that we're dragging consistently. And the longer you do it, the heavier it gets. The more you do it with more things in your life, the heavier that burden gets, until you're dragging this like massive weight behind you, and you're thinking like, why is this so much harder for me to do? I feel like I'm going uphill with like a weight. And you are. And motivation, inspiration, all of these things are really only going to help us so much. They're really only going to be situational things. Like, there is certain things you can do to boost your motivation, your inspiration, those types of things, but you have to be very intentional with it. And I think that a lot of the time, it definitely is about, two real things that you can do about that, which is get stronger, get mentally tougher, get gain the ability to carry and pull more resistance that life is going to throw at you. And as well, your ability to let go of that resistance, your ability to come to terms with it, stop wrestling with reality, and actually take an honest inventory and start to cut some of those chains that hold those weights to your back. And so anyways, this morning I wake up. It's 4:45. I wake up. I kind of do my normal. I kind of fall into my normal routine where I wake up. I feed the cats. I got a couple cats here. I make a pot of coffee. I come in here. I turn on a little red light. I do some reading, and then after about like a 20-minute timer, I I sit down here. I do some journaling. And normally, like, journaling is one of those things where when I first started thinking about it, when I first started, when I first started doing it, like, I bought a journal. I remember I was like so depressed. I was at work, and sip break. I don't know if I'm going to edit that out or if I'm just going to leave it in, but anyways, I'm at work this time. At this time, I just literally put in my notice to quit. And so I go to the local department store, I grab a journal, and I sit down, and then I go to open it up, and I'm like, I'm going to start journaling. I'm finally going to start journaling. I'm so excited. And I'm like, I don't even know how. And honestly, still, after years, I'm like still figuring it out. But what I did this morning was something that I kind of do, only really when I have these days where I just kind of feel not like myself, very sluggish, very low energy. you just kind of, I don't know if you guys can relate to that, where it's just like you kind of sometimes wake up and you just feel like you're not yourself. And so when I feel like that, what I do is I just sit down, I stare at the wall, literally no music, no nothing on, just me. And I just stare at the wall with the journal in front of me. And I sit there until I just start to have those intrusive thoughts. This is something that I started doing when I realized that I suck at meditating. I'd just sit there, I'd have the intrusive thoughts, and I would just start, instead of just like kind of getting upset with myself for having them, I'd just write them down. And so I start writing down just like a list of intrusive thoughts. And then it started slowly pushing towards negative thoughts. And I started writing down all the things that, bothered me about my life, different areas about my life. This is something I'd like to improve in my relationship. This is something I'd like to, improve about my job, work, whatever, my financial situation, my home life. It's something that I'm struggling with my faith or my spirituality. And I start to make this like big list of things that are just bothering me about like, bothering me in my life. And then, after I make that list, I write down, why they bother me. What's the feeling I get? Whether like why, you know, really deep down why it bothers me. And then after I've kind of like quote unquote vented into my, my book, I just start writing down like one or two things that I can do to improve this situation. Something that I can literally do today. Not some grandiose 10-year, 15-year plan. And again, I'm not saying that that's not a good thing to do. I'm just saying that it's not what I, employ in this specific situation. This tool, it's not the tool I use for this job. But what I did was, I wrote down a list of things that are actionable for me today. Things I can do today to improve those things. And just kind of going through, like I'm burning through like 4 or 5 pages in this book, right? Of just like a list of things that, like I said, bothering me in my life, why they bother me, and then 1 or 2 things I can do today to improve the situation, to make it, a little bit more bearable or to push me in the right direction, which is oddly enough what I always say in the tagline at the beginning of this thing. But just allowing some space for that silence, allowing some space, because I'm somebody that, constantly when I'm doing the dishes, when I'm cooking a meal, when I'm driving, when I'm working, I always feel like I need to have some sort of music, podcast, TV show going on in the background, something going on, and it does create a dope vibe. When sometimes I sit here and I record, I put some music on beforehand, I just kind of listen to it, I vibe to it, whatever. But there is something about like right before, reflection, whether it's journaling, talking to somebody, whatever it is, just having some silence, just literally staring at the wall, having no music on, no lo-fi beats in the background, no like, hip hop instrumentals, no acoustic instrumental, jazz instrumentals, whatever. Because I feel like so much, it's so obvious that all of these things can influence our emotions, influence how we feel, influence the way that we interact with the world around us. It just literally, it's by, the same way that the reason that we put it on is to change the vibe. And I think that, allowing that space, that silence for your thoughts, creates the void, creates the vacuum where things just start to flow in. These intrusive thoughts are important because they are little kind of red alerts and alarm bells that are ringing off. And sometimes, it takes some sort of like suffering or some sort of like bad situation in one area of our lives to just start to like have not a pessimistic, but just kind of put your haunches up, to put you on alert. Like it kind of, it raises your awareness to other negative things in life. You start to have problems in your relationship, and then somehow it starts to, whether maybe we create them or we just start noticing them, it starts to raise awareness of problems in other areas of your life as well. Maybe other relationships, but also maybe at your work, or how you feel when you're by yourself, or, and vice versa. Like each one of these things is going to interact with other areas in our lives. And so when we have an issue in one area, it's going to either reveal or create issues in other areas of our lives as well. And so sometimes these are very painful times, but they're also sometimes the most revealing, because you can start to build a list of every single thing in your life that starts to bother you, because when you start to focus on problems, you either create or reveal other ones in your life. It raises your awareness. It's the same concept of, when somebody says, oh, there's a lot of red cars around, and then you go out on the town, you're just walking down the street, you're driving, you're on the bus, on the SkyTrain, you're doing whatever, and you start to notice all of these red cars around. The same thing goes with problems and issues that you're having with people, places, things, etc. The more you're in tune with something, the more awareness you have of something, the more you're cognitively or consciously focusing on it, the more you think about things, the more, a negative mind will notice negative things, and a positive mind will notice positive things. And sometimes, negative things need to be noticed, because they have to be addressed. They have to be reframed sometimes. Sometimes it's not even really a negative thing. Sometimes it is just like a thing. And the way that we feel about it is, just needs to be reframed. And that's the same thing as like, taking something like, something that's bothering you in your life, writing it down and thinking about, why does it really bother me? And then reframing it into something like how can I use this to improve my life? How can I use this to safeguard myself? Like, it's almost as if life does give us trial runs. We have these little problems, and we can use that to reframe the way that we think, the way that we do things, the way that it impacts us, and before it can build into a bigger issue. And sometimes, if you're anything like me, you are, and I fucking, this is one of the most frustrating things about life, is that sometimes you do need to have that pain. In fact, I would say, if you're anything like me, it's necessary to have that painful experience, because that is the only thing that will, force me to change. I'm somebody that, like, you can tell me something a million times, but until I actually experience it, like, I am so, and maybe that's something that I need more of a reminder of, but I struggle a lot from learning from other people's experiences. And I find that I need to actually make the mistakes and feel the pain myself to actually learn the lesson. And I don't know if that's a good thing, because maybe it allows you to kind of push past, what other people say, the limitations or the limiting beliefs that are passed on from other people. But it also does create the room, or the space for, just putting yourself in really stupid situations, or, fucking your life up in certain areas of your life. And I'm not trying to say that it's like all a lost cause, but every single, character trait has benefits and costs as well, right? So kind of is what it is. And, ultimately, the thing is about journaling and writing down all of these lists is just exactly that. Like, it's kind of just making lists, making plans, making, and it really only is a plan until you start to take action. And which is why I like the very last part, which is making some sort of an actionable step that I can start today to start to move closer. Because, the most effective people in life will tell you, the most successful or positive people in life will tell you that plans are just plans until there's some sort of an action behind it. And so you can write things down until your fingers break. You can say things until you're blue in the face. You can tell people about your plan. You can make dream boards, journal fucking like until, the cows come home. Or you can, what do people call it? Like vision boards. You can, make all these pictures and clippings, and and motivational, speeches or quotes for yourself. Put some affirmations and sticky notes on your mirrors and walls. But again, all of those things are just words until you start to actually start to take action. So it is just something to think of. It's not a new concept or a new topic I haven't talked about before, but are your habits, your routines, the things that you create for yourself, these rhythms and these motions of, what you do when you wake up, what you do when you go before you go to bed, etc. These are going to carry you through a lot more tough situations than motivational speeches and things that you tell yourself and affirmations. The actions that you actually do on a daily basis, therefore your routine, is going to, not even just allow you to, it's going to facilitate the just sliding back into some sort of a positive behavior, sitting down, like having something that primes you and puts you in the right state of mind for the day. It's like warming up your car, which a lot of people don't do either, but just letting it like letting your car warm up. And some cars take longer to warm up, in certain seasons, because maybe it's colder outside and maybe the vehicle takes a little bit longer to warm up. And morning routines are kind of the exact same thing. Some people think that you have to have this 3-hour long, 2-hour long, 5-hour long fucking morning routine. By the time you're done your routine, it's the afternoon. But it's like, sometimes it's going to take longer to warm up your engine. If your engine is your body, if your engine is your brain, sometimes it is going to take longer. Whether it's, and I'm just using this as a metaphor right now. I know I use a lot of car metaphors, but bear with me, because in the winter, if you got an old car, not only does the car take longer, but it's colder. So it's gonna, you need more warming up. And your brain and your body and your soul, that is the exact same thing. There's going to be some mornings where there's not much need to warm up. It's a hot, sunny day and you're ready to rock and roll. Or you just went on a drive recently and the engine's still warm. And there's going to be other days where you wake up and it just feels like it's like negative 20 degrees outside. And, you're just warming up the engine. And your morning routine takes way longer to be as effective as it normally would be. But having the morning routine set up and having some sort of structure for yourself to slide back into will push you through the mornings, the nights, the days that feel like you're just walking through jello, that just feel like you have so much resistance, where it doesn't feel like there's much hope. It doesn't feel like things can improve. You kind of start to feel apathetic or depressed or anxious, and you just kind of you fall into that thing. Having some sort of a structure of routine that takes care of your mind, body, and soul, something that, incorporates exercise, something that incorporates reflection, something that incorporates the quiet times, as well as gets your heart rate up. Something that you can do on a daily basis to achieve all those things will push you through those tough times much better than any fucking post-it notes maybe the post-it notes on your mirror are part of it. But it has to include all of those things in my eyes. And so on that note, I think that's a beautiful place to wrap this up. I am going to get after it. As you can see out the window, the sun rose pretty much during this episode. And so I hope that you guys are feeling good, feeling a little bit more reflective, feeling like you can go out and conquer this week. Happy Monday. If you guys are watching this on YouTube or, anywhere else, leave a comment, comment, subscribe. And then if you're listening to this on a podcast platform, rate it 5 stars, leave a little review. And if you feel, so inclined, please share this episode with a friend, somebody that you feel like needs to hear this message, or somebody that you think should be on the podcast, somebody that you'd like to hear me talk to or ask questions to. On that note, much love. Peace out. I'll see you guys next Monday. Peace. Love you all. Bye.